The Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus is the best smartphone available right now. It's a big phone that's designed for big hands, and it takes the very best of what's on the smartphone market and puts it together in a compelling package that we have loved testing. The Super AMOLED 6.4-inch display has been measured as the very best around, with super colors, great dynamic range, and essentially the very best viewing experience you can have on a mobile phone. The default resolution is Full HD+, but you can crank it to QHD+, and it's very sharp, with HDR10+ for superior contrast and color. That's a very important feature if you are a movie watcher on your phone. Plus, there's a fingerprint scanner embedded in the display. The battery life on the Galaxy S10 Plus is an improvement over the S9 Plus. Thanks to the larger 4100 mAh battery inside, it will easily reach bedtime with double digits still left in the tank. The S10 Plus also offers Samsung new wireless power share, allowing you to wirelessly charge other devices on the rear of the handset. The back has a triple lens camera that takes normal, telephoto and new ultra-wide photos. You can capture more of what's in front of you without having to take few steps back. The Galaxy S10 Plus is packed full of the best Samsung has to offer, and it comes together to give you the best smartphone experience around right now. Samsung A90 5G smartphone was launched in 3rd September 2019. The phone comes with a 6.7-inch Super AMOLED touchscreen display with an aspect ratio of 20:9. It is powered by a octa-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 7nm processor. It comes with 8GB of RAM. As far as the cameras are concerned, the Samsung A90 5G on the rear packs triple camera setup consisting of a 48MP main shooter and a 8MP ultra-wide lens along with a 5MP depth sensor. There is a 32MP camera on the front for selfies. This device is based on Android 9.0 Pie and packs 128GB of inbuilt storage. It is powered by a 4500 mAh battery with 25W fast battery charging support. It was launched in white and black colors. The Galaxy Note 10 Lite is the most affordable version of the Galaxy Note 10. It features the same S Pen that debuted with the Galaxy Note 9. The Galaxy Note 10 Lite doesn't have a flagship grade AMOLED display, but still it's pretty good. The screen has the usual AMOLED strengths, wide viewing angles, deep blacks and vivid colors. The Galaxy Note 10 Lite's front side is covered with a 6.7-inch Infinity O display with a punch hole in the center and tiny bezels. Since it isn't a flagship phone, the Note 10 Lite's bezels are slightly bigger at the top and bottom than the bezels on the Note 10 Plus. It may not look as pretty as the Galaxy S10 Lite, but the Note 10 Lite does have something much more useful to make up for it: a headphone jack. Now let's talk about the S Pen. Samsung's stylus has remained unmatched by the competition in the 9 years since it was introduced with the first Galaxy Note. The S Pen has been an excellent tool for taking notes and unleashing your artistic side, and the Note 10 Lite brings you the exact same stylus experience as the Galaxy Note 10 at a more affordable price. The Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Lite is powered by the Exynos 9810 chipset, not the Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 chipset like the Galaxy S10 Lite. This smartphone is available in two variants. The base variant has 6GB of RAM and 128GB of storage, and 8GB of RAM and the same 128GB of storage. The camera module on the Galaxy Note 10 Lite is made of three 12MP cameras. The primary one has an 1.7 aperture as well as an optical image stabilization. The wide-angle camera has an 2.2 aperture and the telephoto camera has an 2.4 aperture. At the front, there is a 32MP shooter with a 2.2 aperture. The camera app will be familiar to Samsung users, and there are multiple shooting modes including food, night, super slow-mo and a pro mode. Photos taken in the day had good details. The wide-angle camera delivers the same color tone as the primary camera, which is a good thing. However, you will notice distortion at the edges of the wide-angle photos. These shots were also low on details. Video recording maxes out at 4K 60fps for the primary camera and 4K 30fps for the selfie shooter. The output is stabilized when shooting at 4K as well as 1080p, and you do have the option to switch between the three rear cameras while shooting. The Galaxy Note 10 Lite does a good job at stabilizing video. This device is powered by a 4500 mAh battery with 25W fast charging support. If the Samsung Galaxy S10 was a bit pricey for you, the phone maker has an alternative, the Samsung Galaxy S10 Lite. The S10 Lite is an interesting device because it brings up top-tier hardware and usable cameras at a much more affordable price point. The S10 Lite feels every bit as premium as any flagship released over the last 2 years. The back curves gently and the weight distribution is perfect. The plastic design allowed Samsung to bring down the weight. There's no 3.5mm headphone jack on the S10 Lite. With the Snapdragon 855 and 8GB of RAM under the hood, it shouldn't come as a surprise that the Galaxy S10 Lite performs like a flagship phone. Your apps and games will load quickly, games like PUBG run without a hitch, and there's no stutter or lag. The 6.7-inch AMOLED screen is crisp and large for an S-series phone, although it's only Full HD Plus resolution. This phone comes with a triple rear camera setup. It have a 48MP lens backed up by 12MP wide-angle shooter and a 5MP macro lens, and you get a 32MP camera at the front. There's also Auto HDR and lots of beautifying effects and filters, and Samsung Scene Optimizer is included here as well. You also get live focus for both photos and videos, and there's a toggle that easily lets you switch between the primary and wide-angle lenses. The S10 Lite takes photos with vibrant and saturated colors, and there's decent dynamic range. You get the same quality shots from the wide-angle lens as well, and that's particularly true of images taken in low light conditions. With a 4500 mAh battery, it's no surprise that the Galaxy S10 Lite can last really long on a single charge. Unless you game and watch YouTube all day, the S10 Lite will comfortably last you until the end of the day and into the next morning. It comes with 45W fast charging. The Galaxy S10 Lite doesn't support wireless charging. The Galaxy S71 5G brings an excellent amount of upgrades over its predecessor. This device is a pleasure to hold and use. The display is a 6.7-inch AMOLED panel. The display is beautiful as well. All the AMOLED awesomeness is present, such as vivid colors with the option to switch to a more natural look, deep blacks, wide viewing angles, and excellent brightness levels. Thanks to the Infinity O screen, the bezels have been reduced and the punch hole for the front camera looks better than the U-shaped camera cutout we saw on the Galaxy S70's display. The S71 5G is sleek and light. There's plastic on the back, but the phone feels premium while not being slippery as a phone with a glass back. The in-display optical fingerprint sensor has been improved as well. It's much quicker and more accurate than last year, even more so than theoretically superior ultrasonic in-display sensor on Samsung's flagships. Naturally, facial recognition is supported and it works well most of the time. It is powered by Exynos 980 chipset coupled with 6 or 8GB of RAM depending on the variant you buy. Performance in day-to-day use is excellent. There's barely any stutter or lag, and all of the graphically intensive gaming titles run well. This phone have quad rear camera setup. The Galaxy S71 5G 64MP primary camera takes 16MP photos using pixel binning, and when the lighting is right, you get really beautiful pictures. There's a lot of detail in daylight shots and good dynamic range. Color reproduction is also faithful to real life in most cases. Nighttime shots come out noisy or grainy, although the dedicated night mode tends to focus on increasing the detail in dark objects rather than controlling noise levels. The 12MP ultra-wide camera takes better photos than the A70 was capable of, at least in terms of the detail captured. The A71 also has a 5MP macro camera, which is a great addition to this setup, and the last one is 5MP depth sensor. You can record 4K video at 30fps and 1080p super slow-mo video at 960fps. On the front, there is a single 32MP camera for selfies, which delivers great picture quality. It is powered by a 4500 mAh battery with 25W fast charging support. It has impressive battery life and can get you up to 2 days on a single charge with light usage on Wi-Fi and a little mobile data, and a full day if you are a heavy user who tends to play games, watch YouTube videos, and do other power-intensive things on their phone. If you travel a lot, the A71 has excellent endurance even when used as a hotspot.